Have you noticed how quickly a single memory can hijack your entire day? One phrase, one look, one flashback to that betrayal or closed door moment, and suddenly your shoulders tense, your heartbeat rises, and the narrative in your mind starts replaying every rejection you've ever known. It happens in traffic on the way to work, in the grocery line, in the quiet after midnight when everyone else is asleep. We live in a world that constantly reminds us of what went wrong. Deadlines missed, relationships fractured, promotions that passed us by. Yet right in the middle of that noise, a gentle invitation is being whispered. Let the scars go. Not deny them, not pretend they never happened, but trade them in for a heart that can walk unburdened. Imagine waking up and realizing that yesterday's cruel words no longer sting, that the conversation loop you used to rehearse has lost its power over you, that the failure you replayed is now just a line in a story of redemption. That is the freedom on offer today, but you have to release your grip on the old pain to receive it. Now I know what you're thinking. How do I just let it go? The consequences are still here. The relationship might still be fractured. The debt is still due. Here's where the teachings of Jesus cut through the fog, not with rules, but with rescue. He never asked us to fix ourselves before approaching him. He met people in their mess and said, "Your past does not scare me, come anyway." The same message echoes now. If perfect love says you're forgiven, why keep indicting yourself? We label ourselves unworthy because of decisions made in desperation, seasons clouded by ignorance, moments when fear yelled louder than wisdom. But forgiveness from God is not partial, and it certainly isn't reluctant. It doesn't keep one eye on the file of your mistakes, waiting to drag it back out. When divine love forgives, it also forgets. That means self-condemnation has lost its legal authority in your life. Condemnation says, you're still on trial. But love says, the verdict is in, you are free. Every time guilt starts its speech, you get to interrupt it with grace. Take a deep breath and picture the mental space that opens up when shame no longer rents a room in your head. That space is designed for faith, hope, and creativity. The very atmosphere where future miracles take shape. Faith is not naive optimism. Faith is choosing to stand on a promise when circumstances scream the opposite. It's believing that goodness can grow in your barren season, that strength can rise out of your weakest hour, that purpose can be forged from what tried to break you. And here's the secret. Where faith thrives, doubt dies of starvation. The human heart can't feed both at the same time. One of them will dominate your internal dialogue. So start each morning deciding which voice gets a microphone. Imagine walking into your workplace with an inner confidence that isn't tethered to performance reviews or public applause, but to the unchangeable reality that you are loved and guided. Imagine tackling your to-do list with the quiet assurance that even if you miss a step, you fall onto a net of grace that sends you back up stronger. Now let's talk real life. The bills are still due, the deadlines still loom, conflicts may still flare up at home. But the difference is, your identity is no longer up for debate. When you believe you're already accepted, you negotiate challenges from a place of peace rather than panic. That peace reshapes conversations. You respond instead of react. It transforms parenting. You guide with empathy instead of shame. It changes your leadership. You serve instead of dominate. Eventually, people start to notice what happened to you. And you'll smile because you'll know the outward calm is just evidence of an inward exchange. Old scars for a new heart. Condemnation for confidence. Fear for faith. Maybe you still feel unqualified. Good. That means you're precisely where grace can shine. Remember how often Jesus chose the overlooked, fishermen, tax collectors, social outcasts, to carry hope to the world. He delights in working through imperfect vessels because every crack becomes a window for his light. So instead of hiding the evidence of past wounds, hold them up as proof. Yes, I was broken, but I'm still here. Yes, I messed up, but love picked me up. Your story becomes a lighthouse for others drowning in their own regret. And this is where a movement begins. When one heart truly grasps that it is forgiven and free, it refuses to cling to bitterness. It becomes courageous enough to dream again, to love again, to build again. Communities change when individuals heal. Families heal when parents exchange harshness for understanding. Workplaces thrive when leaders drop ego and pick up empathy. And it all starts with that private battle, choosing to believe that scars don't define destiny, that grace outruns guilt, and that faith has the final word over fear. So here's the challenge as you walk out of this room, close the screen, or step back into your routine. Guard your peace like it's the most valuable asset you own, because it is. When old memories knock, answer with new truth. When guilt raises its voice, drown it with gratitude. When doubt lists the reasons things won't change, counter with the reasons they absolutely can, all anchored in a love that never quits. Today, refuse the script of yesterday. Trade the replay button of regret for the record button of purpose. Lift your head, square your shoulders, and step into the day knowing you're backed by a presence that writes redemption into every chapter. Scars may be part of your story, but they are no longer the headline. The headline is grace, and under that banner, you are unstoppable. We often think that breakthroughs are loud and dramatic, fireworks, applause, something visibly epic. But the truth is, some of the greatest transformations happen in stillness. That quiet moment when you finally stop running and decide to trust. When you stop trying to fix everything in your strength and say, I can't, but God can. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. There's a deep shift that happens when you realize you don't have to beg for what love already wants to give. You don't have to manipulate the outcome or exhaust yourself proving your worth. You are not chasing blessings. They are already chasing you when you walk in alignment with divine peace and faith. And this isn't a motivational catchphrase. It's a real, tangible shift that begins to happen in your life. You start to notice that joy returns, that your thoughts are clearer, that peace becomes your natural rhythm. This is the power of living in trust rather than tension. This is what it means to walk in the reality of divine guidance. Many people ask, how do I strengthen my faith? How do I feel God's presence in real life? And the answer is simple, but not always easy. Stay close. Stay close even when it's dark. Stay close even when you don't feel a thing. Stay close when the noise around you tries to tell you that nothing's happening. Because often the most powerful spiritual work is taking place underneath the surface. Faith doesn't always shout, it sometimes whispers. And those whispers, if you learn to recognize them, will guide you out of some of your deepest doubts. Stay anchored to those moments where peace touched you unexpectedly. That wasn't your imagination. That was presence. That was love saying, I haven't left. So don't let disappointment or unanswered prayers shake the truth that's already been planted in your heart. What you feel doesn't always reflect what's real. The sun is still shining above the clouds even when you can't see it. And your life is still being written by a hand far wiser than yours. Let's bring this closer to home. In your own family, your household, your relationships, you've probably noticed that people don't change just because you talk louder. Love is louder than lectures. Presence is more powerful than pressure. The teachings of Jesus were never about controlling people. They were about transforming hearts through kindness, patience, and truth. You don't need to fix everyone in your home. You don't need to demand change to be a channel of it. Instead, reflect calm in chaos. Offer grace where there's tension. Be steady when others are shaken. And believe me, people notice. The same way a room lights up when the sun enters, your consistent peace and quiet faith have a ripple effect. Your family might not say it out loud, but they will feel it. They'll see it in your tone, in your timing, in your ability to pause before reacting. And through you, they will begin to see what divine love actually looks like. Now, let's be honest. The journey won't be free of hurdles. There will still be tight months, hard days, and moments where the answers don't come as fast as the questions. But listen closely. You were not built to break. You are not running this race alone. Every time you've held on when it was easier to give up, heaven noticed. Every time you've bitten your tongue when anger wanted to speak, you were growing stronger. Every time you prayed through tears instead of giving in to bitterness, you were rising. Growth is not always loud, but it is always real. And now you're standing at the edge of a new season. You may not feel it, but breakthrough is closer than it looks. The waiting wasn't wasted. It shaped you. It deepened your roots. And now your fruit is coming, not just for you, but for your children, your community, and generations that will follow you. So as you continue on, here's what I want you to hold tight. You're not waiting for the right moment. You're becoming it. You're not hoping to earn love. You're learning how to live in it. And most of all, you are not a project to be fixed. You are a vessel being refined. What tried to destroy you will one day be the testimony that delivers someone else. What broke your heart will become the soil where joy takes root again. That's the kind of transformation love offers, not cosmetic, not temporary, but total, lasting, inside-out change. And it starts now, right here, in this moment, as you decide once again to trust, to stay, to walk forward with peace in your chest and fire in your spirit.